it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I am going to be sharing the 23 books I plan to prioritize and read in the year 2023. Now, a bunch of these books are on my 29 to read before I'm 30 list, which obviously I'm turning 30 next year, so I have to prioritize them. So they are taking out the majority of my TBR. I also have a few books I want to get to, as well as some new releases I want to include on this list. So let's hop right on in and I'll share all the books I plan to read in 2023. The first one is Unwell Woman, Misdiagnosis and Myth in a Man-Made World by Eleanor Cleghorn. And this is a nonfiction dealing with how women are often misdiagnosed or brushed off in medicine. And I thought it's going to be a very enlightening read, and that's why I want to try to get it read this year. I have Battle Royale, which is a bit of a chunker, and I have kind of started it, but then got distracted and started reading other books and never got back around to it. And it's also one of my books I need to read before I hit 30. But I am going to try to get this one tackled this year, and I hope I do end up finishing this chunker. Another chunker I have is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. And obviously this thing is huge and it's a behemoth of a classic, but I do hope I can complete it sometime before the end of the year. Considering it is the year of Sanderson, of course I have to include one of his works on my list, and that is Arcanum Unbounded. And this is kind of a bind up of a bunch of his short fiction. So I hope I can get to it, and obviously I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it because this is one of my top favorite authors. The next book I plan on completing in 2023 is Miss Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, which is a classic and basically is the portrait of a single day in a woman's life. It's kind of the summing up the blurb. And I hope I can get into this one because I'm not a big classic reader. However, I am trying to read more classics, so I did add this to my list. So let's hope I love it. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams is a book I've been wanting to read for a while, and I finally got my hands on a physical copy. So I hope I do get around to it sometime this year. 30 Life Crisis by Lisa Schwartz. I thought it would be fitting to read sometime this year as I get ready to enter the dreadful next decade of my life. So I guess I will be reading this sometime this year, probably closer to the end, so I can put it off as much as possible. Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith is a TBR vet of mine, and one I hope to complete for the end of the year, and obviously it's another classic. However, I think this is from the same person that wrote Cruella de Vil, and I love that movie, so I do hope I enjoy this one. The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells is another one I want to tackle. And this is a short one, so I should be able to breeze through pretty quickly before the end of the year. How Not to Die Alone by Richard Roeper is another one I want to try to tackle before the end of the year. And it's another one of my half-read books. Well, I guess not quite half-read, like barely read, because I think I read the first couple chapters. Then set it down and never got around to reading again. So I hope I can pick this one up and find the motivation to finish it before the end of the year. Burial Rites by Hannah Kent is another one I want to get to, and I believe this one is set in Iceland following this woman who is accused of murder. She is kind of living isolated out, I believe, on a farm or something while awaiting the trial. Another chunker I need to complete before the end of the year is The Fall of Babel by Josiah Bancroft. This is the final book in the Books of Babel series, and this is one of the series I've been reading over the years and absolutely love it. So I can't wait to get this giant boy tackled within the year. Fall of Agosi by Sebastian de Castell is the second in his prequels, which is preluding the Spellslinger series, where we are following Ferris and her journey through life. And I really adored the first one. I loved all the Spellslinger series books, so I am excited to get the second installment in the series. The Dark Vault by Victoria Schwab is a bind-up of 2 novels I've been wanting to get to, and I've kind of been hesitant on reading this, I think mainly because it's an incomplete series. It kind of never finished off after the second volume. However, she is one of my top favorite authors, so I do want to try to read all her work. So this is the next on my list of things to tackle while waiting on her to publish some more releases. Another chunker on my list and a start of a new series is 12 Kings in Shirake, and I'm sure I totally butchered that title, by Bradley B. We're just going to go with B. I'm not even going to try that last name. And I think this is kind of like a desert-inspired fantasy. So I'm kind of interested to see how this reads. And I hope I do enjoy it and find a new series to look forward to reading. Another TBR vet of mine, and something I probably need to read before the end of 2023, is Half the World by Joe Abercrombie. I read the first book in this series, Half a King, like probably 2 years ago, and then just never got around to picking up the follow-up to it. So I probably need to get this one read as well as the final book in the series. But I hope I can get to this before the end of the year. Another chunker and book I started and then got distracted, put down, and never got around to finishing is The Desolations of Devil's Acre by Ransom Riggs. And this is a series I grew up reading from beginning to, well, not the quite end, but since it's been released over the years. And so I'm very excited to get into reading this. However, I think my biggest thing about putting it off is I don't want the series to end. So I'm been just putting this book aside over and over again instead of picking it up and actually reading it. But I do look forward to getting it read before the end of the year. Continuing on with series, I also have the fourth book in the Trials of Apollo, The Tyrant's Throne by Rick Riordan. And this is another one I hope to get through before the end of the year. And obviously it's Greek mythology, and I really do enjoy this whole series. And it's another one I've pretty much been reading since the beginning with Percy Jackson. So can't wait to get this one read sometime this year. Another book I need to read before the end of the year is Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. And this, it's not too big, and it's a classic, and I think it's an anti-war book. But it's been sitting on my TBR for a little bit, and I think it's on my 29 books to read before I turn 30. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But I do hope I get to do this year, and it shouldn't take me too long to read since it is pretty brief. Another book I need to read before the end of the year is Innocence and Carnality by J. Allen Bierkamp. I'll put it up here. It's a book I recently ordered kind of on an impulse. It's like, well, since I impulse bought it because I saw it for like $5, I probably need to read it instead of letting it hang out on my shelves forever. And it's currently in the mail. That's why I don't have a physical copy yet, but you can enjoy the cover art here. I also have In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, which I believe is set to be released in the spring. And I'll put the cover art here because obviously I don't have the book in my hands yet. TJ Klune's one of my favorite authors, so I have been reading all of his books, and I've been following him since his self-published days. So of course, I'm going to buy all of his published books as they come out, and I try to read them as soon as I can. Another book I want to read before the end of the year is Mysteries of Thorn Manor by Margaret Rogerson, which I really have enjoyed her works that have been published. And this one I believe is going to be published this month, and it's a little novella, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and complete it. The final book I want to read this year, and the last of my 23, is another pre-order, and that is I Hear the Sunspot Seasons Volume 1, which is a continuation of the I Hear the Sunspot manga series, which I have read the prior volumes of it. So I can't wait to get my hands on this. And we are following a deaf/hearing couple and kind of the issues they face, as well as their life as they go through college. So I can't wait to get that one read, and I am excited to read it sometime this year. I guess that's it for today's video. I set some pretty hefty books on my 23 to read before 23, so hopefully I can get through all of those books before the end of the year and keep up my prior year's reading pace. But I guess that's it. If you have any reading goals you plan to do this year. Feel free to share them below, as well as any books you are trying to prioritize before the end of the year. And other than that, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video.